What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So I won't grace you with my wonderful chant about wasted chances. But yeah, just imagine. I don't remember what video it was now that I came up with that, but if you want to go back and look through my past Chelsea videos and find the one where I chanted about our wasted chances, very fitting for today. Because, yeah, talk about probably one of our worst domination performances I've ever seen. Because we were fully in control of this game. There's no reason whatsoever that we should not have taken all 3 points out of this. Embarrassing. It's really embarrassing that the way we played today, we could not pick up all 3 points against this awful Man U side. Because this is the thing. Out of context, a 1-1 draw at Old Trafford sounds fantastic. Like, holy crap, we went on the road against Man U and we managed to get a point out of it. Nice. Like, we want to win every game, but a draw on the road, not bad. Especially against Man U. But you look at Man U now, you look at it in context, you look at the game itself, good God. I mean, they looked awful. And it's not like we played terribly. We lose our minds when we get within like 5 yards of the box. Suddenly all this great build-up play, we're knocking it around, passing around players, and then we get behind the defense or we get into the box. And suddenly it's like, I don't know, the spirit of Murata takes over. And just suddenly nobody can do anything in the box anymore. So many chances just gone. So many crosses that we should have had that should have found a target, nothing from them. So many shots that we had that should have been well placed, should have put it around De Gea, right at him. It's just absolutely terrible. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say because this is our best lineup. Maybe a few changes here or there. Maybe if we get Kovacic back before the end of the season, prefer to have him in midfield, and obviously with Chilwell, would prefer to have him on the left. But aside from that, I think this is our best lineup right now. Spilicueta, Silva, Rudiger, Alonso because Chilwell's not available, and James, Jorginho and Conte, maybe Loftus-Cheek. He's in a good run of form over one of the two because, I mean, honestly, Conte, the form he's in right now, you could replace him. And then that front three, I mean, they've been a fantastic front three of late. So either we need more rotation because players are getting tired, or today they just came in and set the brains in the locker room before they came out. Like, you know what, this is too heavy, I'm going to take this out and I'm going to put it here. I'll come back and get you before the end of the game. Because they certainly played like they were brainless. Because this should have been an easy 3 points. But it was not. So, first of all, talk about it from Tuchel's point of view. Like I said, I mean, the lineup is about what I expect from what we have right now. Even though Chalobah, again, I don't know why he's not seeing the field. But it's not like he would have done much different. But yeah, the only argument that could be made is because Rudiger seems like he has decided he's leaving and he doesn't want to stay. There is that argument of, well, should we continue to play him? Like, is he already going to be thinking about his exit? But also, he does need to put in good performances right now to make sure he shows that he's worth whatever big contract that he's going to be hoping to take in the future. So you could say that will motivate him to play, but I don't know. I would kind of prefer to see more of Chalobah right now since he's looking like he's going to be our future with Rudiger leaving. But I get why, with Rudiger's talent, why you would want to play him. But I will admit, if we see a lot more of that final 10 minutes that we saw out of Rudiger, if we see more of that type of Rudiger, I definitely do not want to see him in this team because I'll talk about it later, but holy crap. But the subs for Tuchel is where I do have a little bit of an issue. And that's just because, I mean, we're looking for a change. We're looking for something. You inject some energy, you inject some pace, you inject some creativity. Because honestly, that's the big thing we lacked, or those three: energy, pace, and creativity up front. So Pulisic comes on for Werner, and he injects just about as much pace and energy as Werner does. But then you bring on Lukaku for Havertz. Now, I get why, as far as what Tuchel's thinking, because Lukaku's coming in to replace Havertz, so target man comes off for another target man. But here's the problem. We are lacking pace and energy and creativity in the front three right now for whatever reason. And normally that front three that you started with would bring you that, but they're not giving it to you today. So bringing on Lukaku, like Havertz wasn't necessarily showing a lot of his creativity in the box or his energy. Lukaku is probably 10 times less than Havertz. I mean, you've essentially traded who's normally... I'm trying to think of a good analogy. I don't know. I'm too tired and frustrated to come up with a good analogy. But Havertz, even though he wasn't playing fantastically today, he was still making runs, moving in and out, trying to open up space in the box. And, I mean, his touch, he's creative. Just when he gets in the box, that's where we were struggling. So you bring on Lukaku, and he's going to be just as bad, if not worse than that. And he was. So I don't get that change at all. Ziyech, for me, should have come on. I still don't know what Ziyech has done to piss Tuchel off. He should have come on today, though. Because he would have provided that little bit of extra creativity that we needed. So that was the one issue I had. Loftus-Cheek coming on for Conte. Apparently, Conte was struggling with something right before he was subbed, according to the commentators. So I don't know what was going on there. But yeah, I mean, that's just an obvious change that's being forced on you. But yeah, I mean, that's all I have for Tuchel, really. Individuals, Mendy. I mean, not much he can do on the goal. It's one mistake from his defense, and suddenly Ronaldo is in, and you let Ronaldo in like that. More often than not, he's going to find the net. So, yeah, nothing really Mendy can do. A couple issues with his feet again, but I don't know. Apparently, it's not big enough of a problem for him to work on fixing it because still a problem. But thankfully, it's funny because I think about Kepa when I say that, because him moving his feet to get to the ball has just constantly been an issue ever since he came to Chelsea. That gives up more goals. So Kepa not fixing that is actually way more frustrating than Mendy not working on his feet. Because Mendy not working on his feet, yes, occasionally it can lead to a mistake or a chance for the other team. But most of the time, you don't have to be great with your feet to be a good keeper. You have to move your feet, though, to be a good keeper. So that's what's kind of funny to me. Is like, well, him not working on that, I can at least say he's got the other side of his game down pat, so it's fine. Kepa, you got to get that part of your game down because that's a necessity in goal. But the back three, for the most part, all of them perfectly fine throughout most of the game. And then that one mistake, everybody just turned off. And it was a little bit of everybody all around turning off in different situations. But the problem is, you can't just completely turn off. You know, Silva and Rudiger, both of them just lets Ronaldo run in behind, and Azpilicueta not paying attention, standing about a yard deeper, keeps him onside. So, yeah, just all three of them just sort of said, oh, ball's kind of in 50-50 territory. I'm sure Conte will get there, but then he doesn't because he misreads the situation along with Mount, and suddenly now, goal. So, I mean, you could say what you can about all of these other areas of the pitch, how, oh, well, these players didn't do their job, these players didn't do their job. For a defender, you got to always be on top of things. You know, and that's where it is frustrating, coming from somebody who played defender, it is frustrating to think in that mindset, like you can't make a mistake or else you'll get punished for it. But that is one of the things that you have to do to be a defender. You have to always be turned on, paying attention, ready to go. You can't have those moments like, you know, our strikers can, where they're just sort of, okay, well, we've got the ball up the field, so we can just sit around and do nothing. No, you still have to be aware of everything going on around you, because one dump ball forward could turn dangerous if you're not already setting yourself to be prepared. So the fact that they all turned off in this one moment right after we got a goal as well, because that's the thing, you knew as soon as we scored there was going to be a bit of a reaction, and we weren't ready for it. It just took that one moment. So, yeah, all three of them were a little bit at fault for the goal, as well as, you know, midfielders as well. But yeah, individually, Azpilicueta for the most part was perfectly fine today. Held up the ball pretty well, defended well enough. So, yeah, not really much fantastic about his game, but he did his job well. Silva, same thing, except for that one moment, did his job well enough. But yeah, let's talk about Rudiger in those final 10 minutes, because I don't know, he just kind of turned stupid. And I've seen this side of, we've all seen this side of Rudiger before, where he'll do kind of silly things in the back, and I don't know if it's just because he's trying to rile people up, or I don't know what it is, but his decision making at times, not all the time, and it's honestly pretty rare. When you look at his overall Chelsea career, he rarely has these moments, but when they pop up, it's very frustrating to watch. You know, you've got a moment where Pulisic loses out to Mata, and Rudiger goes in to help, and sure, it's like a little tangle of legs and balls sort of bouncing around, but then Rudiger, instead of just getting back around and winning the ball because he's stronger and faster than Mata, decides to yank him to the ground and take a yellow, and then literally within a few minutes, ball goes down the field, up in the air, all he's got to do is just head it out. He decides to go with his foot up at Alenga's head, risking himself getting sent off, and maybe even, I don't even remember if it was in the box or not, but you're risking a red card now. And there's no reason to go with your foot. You very clearly had the position, you had the... What's the word I'm looking for? You were in charge of the situation. Like, Alenga was not going to beat you to that ball, and yet for some dumbass reason you thought, I'm going to go with my foot right now, and risk getting sent off for it. So, and honestly, I'm surprised Mike Dean didn't give it to him because, I mean, we've seen Mike Dean be in favor of, honestly, both Manchester. I call him Manchester Dean because he really does like to favor the Manchester, and we saw that with a lot of his calls today. Very, oh, Varane pulling Werner's arm back there, not a foul. Oh, they kick the ball into Spilicueta's stomach. I'm gonna give that a handball. So yeah, I'm surprised he didn't send Rudiger off for it because it was a dumb decision and probably would have been deserved in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, I don't know why he has these moments, but it's kind of one of the reasons why I don't think he's irreplaceable. Because despite all of his talent that he has as a defender, he still has these games where he does some real stupid stuff. So I don't mind losing that side of Rudiger if I'm being honest. But yeah, I know he has a lot of other good things that make up for that most of the time. But in a game like today where things are already very frustrating and we're not playing very well, despite the fact that we're dominating the game, that stuff just sort of really pisses me off that little bit more than normal. Wing back wise, James, it was a game made for him. I mean, he had so much time and space on the wings. He had so much time to do whatever he wanted. Did nothing. And he did put in a couple good crosses and he had a couple decent shots. But with the quality he has that we've seen before, this game should have been 3 or 4-0 because of him. But so many of his crosses were misplaced, or he didn't send in a cross even though he had plenty of time to, and he had an option running in. I mean, I've seen him do so much more with what he had today, so why didn't he? I don't know what was going on, but he honestly should have been the game changer for us. But ultimately, he didn't really give us much. He was just sort of out there. He was a good option to have, but most of what he did ended up being a cross right to a defender or to the keeper, or he just went backwards with it. So, yeah, I know it's a high standard to have for a player, especially a young player, but he has shown so much more quality than what he did today. So, yeah, I don't know. It was pretty poor for him, though. Alonso, kind of a typical Alonso performance, his highs and lows. He scores a great goal, fantastic, but then he also wasted several chances with some dumb decisions. The most glaring one that sticks out of my mind, just because it was our last real chance, breaking down the field, Loftus-Cheek gives it to him, dumps it out of bounds for a goal kick. And that's honestly a lot of the issue with most of the players today is just that decision making. Because you've got so many good options and you decide, I'm going to try to send in that killer ball and then mishit it into the crowd. That's a dumb decision. You've got to make better decisions when you get within the box. And most of our players didn't. Alonso was not the most error prone today, but definitely one of the main ones that I just remember thinking so many times, you got to make a better decision. You got to play a better ball. Why don't you give that pass? Why are you sending in a cross when you got this little pass right here? Just so many little moments throughout the game that I feel like the goal was good, but it knocked down his performance a little bit just throughout. Into the midfield, Conte and Jorginho, both of them, I mean, fine for the most part. Just frustrating moments. You know, Jorginho, did okay today. He kept possession well enough. He wasn't really pressured well by Man U, to be honest. Because that's the thing. If he's under pressure, that's when he struggles. But also, you got to know how to pressure. If he's under good pressure, he will struggle because you make him make some bad touches. He's not quick enough with his feet, and he'll give the ball away. But the problem is, if you just go like charging in and you think that's pressure, he's just gonna turn you because that's easy to get out of. So that's kind of why Man U struggled with him today, is because they were pressing him somewhat, but they weren't pressing him well. It was mostly just one guy charging at him and then getting easily turned. But defensively, I mean, there were several moments where it looked like Man U were going to get in behind to our defense just because he's still not fast enough. And that's, I mean, it's something that's been apparent since he came here. He's not fast enough for the Premier League. So, yeah, there were good and bad to his game today. I would say it just about balanced out to where he was okay for the most part, but definitely had some moments where I wish he were more clinical in that final third to find that killer through ball that we've seen before, but we know that's not his game, and it's never something that's been a part of his game. I just wish he could, because he has done it a couple times. That one ball through to Havertz against Newcastle, I mean, that was a good ball. The one against Porto last season for Mount when it turned and put it in the corner, that was a good ball. So he does it like once in a blue moon. So because he can do it, and we've seen him do it like one or two times like in a couple months, there's that expectation of like, he can, so why don't we see it more often? Why does he only do it every now and then? Like every 10 games we'll see him play one great ball to set up an assist. That's kind of frustrating for me. But Conte, I mean, for the most part, did okay. Still looks a little off the pace, and then the goal was, I mean, I don't know what he's thinking, because Mount wasn't really going to it. Like, the first step Mount takes is, I'm going to get around him. I think. I couldn't really tell what was going on. It looked like maybe Matic, like, moved him out of the way, or maybe Mount was trying to hold him off. I don't know. But there was just some weird happenings there. And Conte, typical Conte, would have just said, you know what, that ball's mine. It doesn't matter that it looks like maybe Mount could be stepping to it, that ball is mine. And he would have gone in and won it. But, yeah, recent Conte, he's just been a little slow to react to things. And so in this situation, he doesn't get there quick enough, and it gives Matic enough time to win it and put a good ball in behind. So I don't know what's going on with him, because aside from that, he was okay today. Like, he wasn't fantastic. He wasn't near his typical performance, but he did his job fine enough. So I just think it's one of two things. It's either age, or there's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, because mentally he does seem a little out of it at times. It doesn't seem like he's really fully aware of what's going on until it's too late. So into the front three, all three of them today, I can basically give them the exact same review. All three of them were perfectly average. And a lot of that just comes down to good movement on the ball, good passing, good interconnectivity, nothing in front of the goal. So it's all that good work, awful. Whatever shot, whatever chance came out of it, awful. And it's all the same for all three of them. For Mount, I could say maybe again he needs a rest, because I've been saying it now for the past few games. He's a player. He gives you 110% every game, so if you don't rest him, he's going to wear himself out. And I feel like we're seeing over these past couple games, against West Ham, first half, not great. Second half, he stepped it up. This game, first half, not great. Second half, stepped it up a tiny bit, but not as much as he did against West Ham. So why aren't we resting him? Not even subbing him. He's not the one coming off for a sub. It's always Werner and Havertz right now. So I don't know if Tuchel's not aware of the fact that he needs to rest him, but it's been apparent for the past couple of years that he goes on this run of fantastic games where he plays multiple in a row and he looks great, but he reaches this point where if you don't give him a break, if you don't rest him for a game or two, he's going to start to drop off. And then all of a sudden, that's typically when you hear the whispers about like, oh, he's just not good enough to be here. He's not good enough for this team, blah, blah, blah. That's when all that talk happens, was whenever he starts to drop off in his performances, most likely because he's just played 10 games in a matter of 3 weeks. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why Tuchel's not giving him rest. I think today would have been a good chance to, because Man U are on pretty bad run of form and they don't look good. They look bereft of confidence. This is a game where you can get Pulisic on for Mount or Ziyech on for Mount. Give him a break. Let one of these other two who haven't been playing a whole lot, fresh legs, want to impress, give them a chance to see what they can do. But Tuchel says, no. We're going to go with the same front three. It'll work. Trust me, it'll work. And then it didn't work. But yeah, Havertz and Werner, I mean, basically same thing. Just not... I mean, Werner, maybe he needs a break too, because still a lot of energy, still a lot of movement from him, but definitely looks like he's not quite as good on the ball right now. Because we saw he had that ability in a couple games against Southampton and then Madrid second leg. So he's shown some quality in recent games. But yeah, past couple, it's just been a little lackluster on the quality. And then Havertz, he's been involved. He's just not been involved in the right ways at the moment. He did get a touch for the goal today. But yeah, he's not really been the driving force that we've seen him in some of the past games. So I don't know. Just all three of them, I think, either need a break or need a refocusing. But either way, needed more from him today, and we didn't get it. Subs that came on, Pulisic, full of energy. I will say, frustrating that he gave away the ball to get Rudiger the yellow. I mean, Rudiger, dumb decision to get the yellow. But just a couple moments I feel like I saw Pulisic take that little too long of a touch, and he feels like he has time to turn, but then all of a sudden, Mata's come on with some energy, pokes it off of him. So would have liked to see him take better care of the ball at some moments, but he did okay. Didn't really change the game like we needed him to, but he was fine. Just went out there and did what we needed him to for the most part. And then Lukaku, about the same. Had a couple moments where he held the ball up well, and then also had some moments where I'm looking at him going, he's a striker? Are you sure he's a striker? Because his runs tell me he has no clue what he's doing in the box. I think the biggest example of that was Pulisic did a good job getting down the line, and you can just see the goal's right here. You've got Varane here, Lukaku's here, and Pulisic makes that breaking run in. Lukaku's run behind the defender. Nothing in front of him, nothing like here, check back, nothing. And so Pulisic comes in. I think his only option was to try to hit it back to Mount or something. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I just remember Lukaku's reaction was like, here to my feet. I'm like, how is he going to get it to your feet when literally there's a defender right in front of you? How is he going to get that to your feet, you dumbass? So that's just still frustrated with him. Still don't really want to see him next season because he's just not improved his game since he's had that bad run of form. Ever since he's had that little, he's just not good enough, and he's had those moments where we've been frustrated with it. All of that, nothing's improved. He's just sort of stayed the same, and it seems like he's like, whatever. Every time he comes on with a sub performance, you expect him to be running all over the field. I remember, I think it was Abraham for Lampard's first year. It was near the end of the season, and I just remember there was a moment who was it? Was it Murata? Actually, it may have been Werner. I think Werner might have already been coming in that season. I don't know. But I just remember there was a moment where Giroud had essentially taken the spot from Abraham. And there's just this feeling of he's got to want to win his spot back. And there were moments where it seemed like he didn't really want to. He went out there, you've got 15 minutes, go prove why you should start. And it just seemed like he was sort of walking around. I remember Hudson-Odoi was the same way too. James had essentially taken that right wing back spot, and that was basically the only way Hudson-Odoi was going to get time was at the right wing back. And so, Hudson-Odoi, Abraham, here's some sub minutes, go out there, show me what you can do, and they just didn't give us anything. And I see the same thing in Lukaku. And yes, Abraham has turned into a good player for Roma, but would he do well coming back to the Premier League? I don't know. Because if you can't come off the bench and show what you're worth, if you can't come off the bench and show why you deserve to start, going back to Lukaku now more, why should we start you? Why should we give you any time? And again, I don't know why Lukaku continues to put in these performances off the bench, and yet we're not looking at Ziyech as a better option coming off the bench, because I feel like he would give us a bit more. Now, granted, again, I know positioning-wise, where do you play him? Do you play him in that front three? Do you try to slide him over to the wing? Whatever. He's going to go out there. He's going to work hard. He's going to try to make something happen. He's going to put in some dangerous crosses. He's going to have some dangerous shots. He's going to do something that's going to be effective in some sense. But the more you don't play him, the less that he's going to have that effectiveness in the final third, because he's not played for like however many games. So yeah, I don't know. I don't get that from Tuchel. I think it's a dumb decision to go with Lukaku over Ziyech, and yeah, I'm not saying that cost us the game, but it definitely didn't help us whenever we needed it to. So, and then Loftus-Cheek, again, a change that was forced because Conte was feeling something, and did okay. Wasn't really called upon to do a whole lot, but had some moments where he had to be a bit of a drive out of the midfield, and he's very good at doing that. So, yeah, all in all, it's 2 drop points. Not often I say that about a trip to Man U, but yeah, this is 2 drop points, and now we're only 6 points ahead of Arsenal, and no more game in hand. So, we're facing Everton in the weekend, and say what you will about how bad they've been recently, they're fighting for their lives. They are in the relegation zone now. They are fighting for their lives. They're fighting for every point they can get. And we couldn't take 3 points off a team that looks defeated, looks like they've just given up on their season. Like, they looked terrible. We couldn't take 3 points off of them. So how are we supposed to take 3 points off of a team that are going to be busting it for every single ball on the pitch? Like, every single time they get a chance to win a 50-50, they're going to win the 50-50 because they're going to be ready. They're going to be wanting to fight. And on top of that, Lampard's the manager. I'm sure he's probably got a little bit of a, I want to get one over on this club that sacked me. So I'm not as confident. If we had gone and done our business today, 2-3-0 against Man U, no problems, I would have been perfectly fine. But the fact that we went in and Man U played as bad as they did and we still couldn't get 3 points, now I'm sitting here going, well, now I'm not confident about the weekend anymore. So, and all it takes, we drop a point or two, or, well, not a point or two, a point or 3 against Everton, or drop 2 or 3 points. We can't drop 1 point. What am I saying? I'm a little tired as well, so I'm just fumbling over my thoughts right now. But yeah, we drop a few points against Everton. Arsenal, they win their match, which I think they should, because it's West Ham. And West Ham have not been good in the league recently. I hope for West Ham victory, but we'll see. But that's the thing. Arsenal win that game against West Ham. Now they're only 3 points behind us, and if we don't do our job against Everton on Sunday, well, now all of a sudden Arsenal are licking their chops and thinking, ooh, we can get ahead of Chelsea. We can top them for third. And that, it doesn't matter. Even if we finish in the top 4, as a Chelsea fan, I don't want to hear from all of the Arsenal fans, because most of them are a bunch of dicks. I don't want to hear from them about how, like, oh yeah, Chelsea's so good, you couldn't even beat us and top us in the table. Ha! I don't want to hear that. There's just it's a pride thing. I don't want to let them get ahead of us. But the way we're playing right now, I'm also not confident that we can stay ahead of them in third. And, who knows? Tottenham put together a few decent results, and suddenly now they could be chasing us as well. So, yeah, frustrated. Very, very frustrated with today. So that's it from me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on the game? Let me know what you're talking about and discuss, all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.